Hi everyone, I am from online SAP Today I would like to give a demonstration on SAP CS module. So today we are gonna learn how we can handle business process, different business process, and how we can handle it in SAP system, that too particularly in CS module. I would like to take an example for the demonstration. So let me pick Apple as a demonstration object, and if I am a CS consultant and I implemented SAP CS module for Apple, then let's get into a real-time scenario. Like whenever Apple phone, there is a repair in an Apple phone, so what will happen generally is customers will ring to Apple customer care, and in the Apple customer care, the front office or the service team will pick up the call and they will record all the complaint details. So this is in the terms of legacy terminology, and in SAP CS we will record all the customer complaint details in the form of service notification. Depending upon the severity of the repair and the possibility and the availability of the engineer, the front office or the service team will ask the customer to hand over the iPhone in the authorized Apple showroom, so that the front office or the service team will take the handover Apple phone which belongs to customer for investigation purpose. So the next step in legacy terminology will be, after complaint, it will be investigation. So for taking into our premises in SAP CS, we will create a document called repair order, or you can even call it as a written order. This is an SD document type which will be helpful in creating inbound delivery. So after taking into our custody, taking customer equipment into our custody, what we will do is we will be creating a service order. In the normal process, what will happen is, for investigation purpose, the iPhone or the repaired phone or the damaged phone will be handed over to a technician for investigation purpose. And the same thing will happen here. So I need to assign an engineer for investigation. In service order, we have different tabs. Let me pick some important tabs. One is operation tab, one is components tab, and one is cost tab. In the operation tab, we will assign a technician name, for example John. If I assign John in service order operation tab, which means John is working for this particular repair. So John will go ahead with the investigation, and in the investigation he found battery need to be replaced and screen need to be changed. And the same will be informed to the service team, so that service team will take the same information to the customer. Let the name of customer be Paul. So in SAP, to inform the customer Paul regarding the cost, regarding the price, regarding the repair charges, so we will be creating a quotation in the SAP CS so that the same will be sent to Paul for his consent. Now upon Paul's decision, if it is like let us think like the quotation is for 200 USD for battery replacement, screen replacement, as well as the service charges, as John is working on the repair for 2-3 hours might be. So the cost or the repair cost will be $200, which will be sent to Paul in the form of a quotation document. If Paul accepts the quotation, we will record the same in the service order like accepting quotation. If Paul rejects the quotation, we can record the same by rejecting quotation. And upon accepting quotation only, we will be able to take the service order to next level. So let us speak an example like Paul accepted the repair and he provided his consent to pay $200 for the repair. Now John, he will go ahead with the repair, like he will do the battery replacement, he will do the screen replacement, and he will finish the repair. Whenever I call, he will do the battery replacement, he will do the screen replacement. That means he is doing consumption of spares. Let me explain what the consumption of spares is. For example, as on today's date, that is 20th of May 2016, Apple showroom is having some 100 batteries and 200 screens. So for this repair, John, what he will do is he will visit the spare part team for replacing the battery and replacing the screen, so that the spare parts team will issue one battery and one screen to John. So the updated count in the store will be 99 batteries and 199 screens. So that John will pick these two spare parts and he will replace for the repaired equipment. After successful consumption of spares, John, he will provide details to the system like he successfully finished his job. That part is nothing but confirmation. After confirmation, John will convey the same to accounts team to raise an invoice to customer, that means Paul. After raising invoice to customer, Apple decides, a service team decides to deliver Paul mobile phone back to him. So which is called as outbound delivery. Here, depending upon the business process and depending upon the client requirement, we can have invoice first or outbound delivery next, or we can have outbound delivery first and invoice later. So we can decide it. So SAP is flexible in terms of invoice and delivering. After outbound delivery, what John will do is like he will confirm in the system like the order, the service order is technically completed. So there is nothing pending from John's end or from the service order end. Here, as a next step, settlement will happen, which means the cost incurred to company for replacing the battery, for replacing the screen, or for John working for 2 hours, all the costs will be settled to respective cost centers, respective GLs, or whatever cost element that we can configure by taking the requirement from the client. For example, let me show you. For settlement, here let me show you an example. Battery, if Apple has got 100 batteries, if Apple has got screen replacements, that means Apple might have bought these batteries or screens from a vendor, or Apple might have manufactured the same. If buying from a vendor, that means purchased from vendor, that means there should be some cost involved in this process. For example, Apple is buying batteries from China and the cost of each battery will be $50 and the screen will be $50. So this is the cost incurred to company on buying these two spare parts. And John is a full-time employee in Apple, wherein he is getting a pay of $2,000 every month. So Apple has to judge, Apple has to measure his work breakdown structure. In such a way, we will be configuring activity pricing to measure the cost incurred on John. So we can configure by taking the requirement from the client. We can configure like John, if he is working on a battery replacement for 1 hour, the cost incurred to company is $10. And the same John, if he is working for 2 hours for screen replacement, the cost incurred is $5. So this total of this cost is nothing but $115, which is cost incurred to company for this particular repair. As long as you don't settle the cost, this will remain as an open cost on the service order and you will not be able to close the service order. So we will be taking the requirement from the client whether this $150 need to be settled to a GL, to a sales document, to a contract, to a project. We can map whatever the cost receivers might be, we can map it in SAP. After successful settlement posting, we will do close the service order, which means service order is completely done. Nothing pending from service order end or from the notification end, and we returned Paul mobile phone back to him and the repair got closed. So this particular process in SAP is called as in-house repair process, which means repair is happening at company premises. So till now we had seen an in-house repair process. Let me pick one more example. If you are an SAP CS consultant and you are implementing SAP CS for IFB, famous washing machine manufacturers. If the same customer, Paul, bought a IFB washing machine, and if there is a repair in the particular washing machine, the next thing what Paul will be doing is calling IFB. IFB will pick the call, and if I compare the same process with Apple, so it might not be a good example like calling Paul to bring his washing machine through IFB every time. So IFB should implement a service process wherein engineer should visit Paul's house, I mean to say customer's house. In that case, we will be recording customer complaint in a service notification, and this time Paul doesn't need to bring his washing machine to IFB. So the successor document after service notification in SAP CS will be service order, and in the service order again I have the same tabs called operations, components and cost. Let me take the same example, like John has been assigned to do this particular repair, to repair Paul's washing machine. So John will take the lead and he will visit Paul's house or where the washing machine is stayed. John will continue investigation and he will found that in this particular repair John has to replace one drum and one open door. So the same way a quotation will be created to provide it to Paul regarding the repair charges, including service charges and component charges. So the same quotation will be given to Paul, and let me pick an example like Paul accepted the quotation. There might be two scenarios wherein Paul can accept the quotation or reject the quotation. Let me pick an example like Paul accepted the quotation. So once Paul accepted the quotation, same way John will be going to spare parts team, or John might be carrying the spare parts before coming to the repair. So John will consume spare parts and after that John will provide confirmation in the system that his work is done. And again here invoice document will be raised against Paul. For example, let it be $250 US. And the quotation is also for the same amount, like $250. So after invoice, as there is no inbound delivery and outbound delivery involved in this process, the next will be TECOing. That means telling in the system it's technically completed. After that, the same way we have to do the settlement of cost. What are all the costs incurred on this particular repair? For example, John visiting the Paul's house, John working for 2 hours, John replacing the drum and replacing the door. That will be settled to settlement receivers or cost receivers. After doing successful settlement, we can mark service order as closed status, stating that the repair is completed. So this particular process in CS we call it as repair at site. That means repair is happening at customer location. So we have seen these two processes. One is repair at site and one is in-house repair process. Let me pick one more example wherein again Paul is customer. Paul is running a call center wherein 150 members will be working in the call center, and they are regularly using and making outgoing calls and receiving incoming calls by using 150 Apple iPhones. So if it is 150 in number, there might be repair may occur at any time to any phone, and if the repair is too big and if the phone doesn't work for 1 hour or 1 day, there will be huge loss what Paul will be facing. So to avoid these consequences, what Paul will be doing is he will have a contract with Apple stating that my 150 Apple iPhones should be checked every month, and further I will be paying $1,000. So every month engineer has to visit Paul's call center, or all the phones in the Paul's call center might be brought to Apple showroom for servicing. So that depends upon the contract terms and conditions between Paul and Apple. For example, let me take it as Apple engineer is visiting Paul's call center every month. As per the contract terms, contract has been created by giving all the 150 telephones, mobile phones in the contract document, stating that every 1 month all the 150 phones has to be serviced, which in SAP terminology we call it as preventive maintenance. And for doing this preventive maintenance, Apple will not charge anything to Paul, as Apple already charged $1,000 from Paul directly from the contract. Whenever I call, $1,000 has been charged to Paul for this contract. It doesn't mean that Paul has to pay all $1,000 in a single payment, like initially or at the end or at the middle. So with the help of periodic billing, we can bill Paul, might be depending upon the terms and conditions, might be every 2 months, every 1 month, every 6 months, every quarterly, every half-yearly, and might be yearly. So that can be achieved with the help of periodic billing. So in SAP terminology, what will happen is you will create a contract document, and the contract document will be invoiced. It's with the help of periodic billing. It might be quarterly, half-yearly, as we discussed earlier. So from the contract, we will create a maintenance plan, and once the maintenance plan has been scheduled, service order will be generated automatically, and John will be assigned for this repair automatically, or we can even change the engineer. That can be possible in SAP. And every 1 month service order will be generated for doing preventive maintenance activities for Paul's mobile phones, and there will not be any invoice document, as it's already invoiced in contract. So this is how contract process will work in SAP. Let me take you one more example wherein the same Apple mobile phone, the same Paul as customer, but Apple has given all the service activities to a third party business partner. So in this case, what will happen is, whenever there is a repair, Paul, being a customer, he will ring either Apple or third party, whatever the number is given on the iPhone box. So let me pick an example, like Paul is directly calling third party. So Paul will call third party, and just do remember, in this case we are implementing SAP to Apple, not to third party. So Paul will call third party, and the same information will be passed to Apple from third party team. And in Apple, a service notification will be created, and the third party team will do the repair, will do all the necessary things, and the same will be informed to Apple. So the Apple will create a service order, and service order, they will do TECO and they will make it as closed status. Here we have to discuss different scenarios wherein Paul mobile phone is under warranty. So we have to consider warranty case not only in the third party repairs, we have to consider in all the repairs, like it might be in-house repair, it might be repair at site. So in these three cases, in-house repair, repair at site and third party, we have to consider whether customer equipment is under warranty or beyond warranty. If it is under warranty, there is no pointing of creating a quotation and creating an invoice document. What I mean to say is, like, if it is under warranty, the spare parts and operation charges, I mean service charges, will be free of cost. If terms are in a warranty, only the service charges are free, then you have to raise an invoice only for components. If in warranty terms only the components are free, then you have to raise an invoice only for service charges. So let's take, if it is a third party scenario and Paul's mobile phone is under warranty. So if Paul's mobile phone is under warranty, the same information will be sent to Apple. Apple will create a service notification, Apple will create a service order, and Apple should send a credit memo to third party, as third party is not charging anything from Paul. And in all these cases, we can have different scenarios. For example, in a third party scenario, third party is trying to work on Paul's mobile phone. So the damage is, for example, the damage is screen area and battery. Screen area can be removed or can be investigated or can be repaired by third party, but battery need to be repaired by only Apple technician. So in the case, screen area will be handled by third party engineer and battery will be replaced by Apple. So in this case, third party might charge Paul, might not charge Paul, depending upon the warranty cases. If third party charging Paul, then third party should pay Apple, as third party is hiring services from Apple for replacing the battery, I mean to say. For example, John. If third party is not charging Paul, then third party doesn't need to pay anything to Apple. On return, Apple has to pay third party because screen area is changed or repaired by third party engineer. So this is how the third party system, the third party repair process will work in SAP CS. So till now I had explained the major and the most possible service processes mostly all the companies follow, and how we can map it in SAP CS module.